you're live.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Schilling with this week's Wednesday Wellness Minutes, and Secoya Health is bringing you this sneak peek into brain training. We have two lovely assistants today. Amelia is behind the camera, which you'll see here in a minute, and Lindsay's here. We're going to be doing a demonstration of brain training on Lindsay. And excuse the lighting, this room is dim for a reason. We don't want to overstimulate our participants when they're in here doing brain training. As a result, if the lighting is not great, appreciate your understanding. What we're going to do now is we're going to kind of switch roles. Amelia's going to set Lindsay up so you can kind of get a peek at what that's going on. I'll probably be monkeying with the camera and talking you through the whole process. In fact, yeah, we'll just do with that, okay? So switch up. So what we have is Amelia's going to be setting up Lindsay, and I'll try to move things around, bring you guys in, get you a sneak peek here.
So I already cleaned off her ears and the site itself. We just want to make sure that it is clean and so there's a good connection. And then we use electrode paste to put the electrode onto the area of the head that we are going to be looking at. Today we're looking at O1, which is the back of the head, and that is associated with sleep as well as stress tolerance. So in general, that's a really good training for people who don't want to be as stressed out and handle stress better.
Yeah, so as she's doing that, basically what you want to appreciate from the, if someone were to come in initially, do an EEG, so a quantum electroencephalograph, and that's going to give us an idea of where the brain waves are dysregulated. Now, Lindsay's already done an EEG. We're not going to demonstrate that today. But if you appreciate that, before anyone does brain training, we need to understand where the brain is dysregulated and where we need to train the brain and educate it. Once you get into brain training, what you're going to look at is you're going to be using auditory and visual stimulus. You can see the screen in the background there, a picture of the quantum mind, if you will. And now that we have Lindsay hooked up at the back of the brain, it's called O1 is the brain location. And Amelia has a, basically over here is a actual head. You see, grab the head there, Amelia.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's got all the different points on it. And so these are all the different points you can train, as you can see. And I'll flip it around here. They don't stick on there all that well, but you see on the back of the head there, O1, that's where Lindsay is being brain trained at. And that is an area of the brain where it's going to show long-term trauma markers and things like that. Lindsay's got some glasses on. Those are a visual stimulus. You can see them blinking there if she just holds them still. Nope, turn them. There, a little turn to the right. Nope, that left. There you go.
Oh, perfect.
So what they're doing is they're stimulating. You can see the flashing lights there. And basically what that's going to show you is how her eyes are being stimulated in the process of doing this brain training. So we use the sound level to, it's basically very gentle, very calming, but we also keep it low enough to have hearing instructions. So our neurotherapist, Amelia being one of them, is going to provide instructions to Lindsay. Okay, so you guys can go and proceed. You can put them back on if you want, or if Amelia needs them off.
So what we're looking at in this screen is a general plasma reading, so we can look at all the different brain waves. It's not 100% accurate right now because we normally have both electrodes on, but we're just doing this as a visual demonstration. And so since she has a lot of stimulus going on. Oh.
I just flipped it around on myself.
Oh, gotcha. So since there's a lot of stimulus going on, we're talking, Lindsay's laughing. The brainwaves look pretty insane right now, but this is just to give you a general idea that we can look at all these different brainwaves, so delta, theta, alpha, low alpha, high alpha, beta, and high beta. And so based on these brainwaves, we can determine what is dysregulated within your brain, so then that way we can re-regulate that. And so this can align with symptomology of anxiety, depression, ADHD, overthinking, foggy thinking. And so we will visually be able to map that on the head and determine what area of the head is dysregulated and what symptoms are associated in that, and then what it is you're experiencing. So then that way we can help you not experience it again and train your brain so then your brain knows how to properly regulate and act day to day.
Exactly. So she's going to get that activated there. So at the back of the brain, a couple of things we want to look for. On the EEG, once you have that information, you can actually see trauma markers, as we mentioned before. So we need your alpha to increase at least 50% when you get eyes closed, and then that will show us any foggy thinking or sleep disturbances. If it's super high, we can see artistic capabilities, but it can also show we're masking trauma. As Amelia mentioned, we can have poor stress tolerance. So when you deal with stress, it can be either easily managed or not manageable at all. You can have racing thoughts, anxiety, self-soothing behaviors, feeling worn out, stressed out, depression, a bunch of different things, you know. But sleep is a big problem for a lot of people. You can even see fibromyalgia markers in the back of the brain. Autism spectrum indicators are there, developmental delays, even cognitive decline. So if we see someone with a brainwave dysregulation in the back of the brain, we can actually anticipate when their brain is declining. This is really good for anticipating Alzheimer's and things like that.
So this is what a typical training looks like. It's going to be a little bit different since we have a few different things plugged in just to show you as a demonstration. But this is the theta beta stress tolerance training. And so Lindsay, you can feel free to put these headphones on too. And so there is going to be both visual stimulus and auditory stimulus. So then that way her brain knows what to respond to. So the picture is only going to move when her brain is acting as we'd like it to, and she's only going to hear music when the brain is acting as we'd like it to. So your brain has neuroplasticity. So this is training it with that positive and negative stimulus, and so then that way it does what it likes. So it loves the picture to move. You like to hear music, and so it's automatically going to move to that direction. And so in general, this is what it looks like on our screen, and this is the number we're regulating and looking for. And this is the specific rewards system
that's alpha,
give.
just to clarify.
This is theta beta in the back of
Okay.
the head.
So point to where you're regulating.
And so we're regulating this number right here.
Okay. You use your finger because you can't really see the mouse.
Oh, sorry. This number right
Okay.
here.
And tell them what you want to do. Are you trying to train up theta, down beta? What are you doing?
So on her EEG, her theta level theta beta ratio is about a 1.2. We want it at a 1.8 to 2.2 for it to be at a level where she can tolerate stress well. Since we have so much extra stimulus going on, it is not going to be accurate. This isn't a typical training.
Right.
And so right now it's a little bit higher, but in general her numbers are usually around a 1.2. And so our whole goal would be to raise those numbers, so then that way she has a higher stress tolerance. She's able to handle everyday stresses a lot better, and it doesn't throw her into that fight or flight mode.
Gotcha. So on the screen, as she's able to maintain a brainwave, you can see the screen is starting to develop a new picture, and that's part of this feedback. It's a reward system. So as the brain is able to maintain the proper theta beta, what it does is it develops the picture, and she's hearing sounds through the headphones, right? And so what you want to appreciate is that as she's able to maintain those brain waves, she's going to get feedback in terms of consistent music, and the picture develops and things like that, while one of our neurotherapists here is monitoring this information. So as Amelia mentioned, this is not going to be accurate as far as what her brain would really be doing, because we're making a lot of noise in here, and normally it's very quiet. Okay? Mm-hmm. So why don't we just, for the sake of jumping to it, let's go to the plasma screen.
Back to the plasma screen?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay. And the plasma screen is going to allow us the luxury of seeing all the brain waves, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Amelia's turning down the harmonics, all the different noises and things like that that might be agitating to Lindsay. We don't want to agitate her.
Like I said, we normally have both hooked up, and so this isn't accurate brain waves. But
Okay.
like as you can see, there's all the different brain wave levels.
So it's kind of hard to read the screen, so why don't you point and tell them what they're looking at.
Yeah, so this is the delta.
Okay, and tell them what delta does.
Delta is the highest brain wave, and so, lowest brain wave.
That means you're knocked out, you're deep sleep, okay?
Okay, and then theta.
Theta is your lucid dreaming. It's your most suggestible state, so if you're in a state of hypnosis, you're in theta.
And then alpha.
Alpha is your meditative state, so if you're a Zen Buddhist or Zen meditator, and you can get into a state where you're creating your future and or creating a new reality for yourself, you're going to be in alpha.
And then there's also low and high alpha.
Yep, and there's different functions. We don't need to get too nerdy into that right now, but there's different levels of alpha.
And then we have beta and high beta.
So beta is thinking about doing reading, math, and things like that, and you get high beta, which if you get too much of that, then you get into anxiety, panic attacks, and things like that. So you want, I shouldn't say only in high beta, it's the ratio between high beta, beta, and that's where you can get, if there's an imbalance in high beta, beta, what you're going to have is a dysfunction there. And then, of course, above that's gamma. And gamma is like super consciousness. You're connected to all things and everything at once, and it's pretty amazing stuff. So I'll give you a little hardware background. So this is called the CES Plus. Okay, this is giving feedback from Lindsay, over to the computer system. This is called a brain driver. And the brain driver is like an integration unit. It provides all the information, collects it from the participant, from the computer, as far as what the brain waves are doing, as far as their frequency and their intensity and their modulation up and down. And what it's going to do is going to send feedback back to the participant over here. And what that does is that stimulates how much the lights are going on, the sound waves, and there's also the CES provides stimulations like a vibration. It's almost indistinguishable depending on how much you turn it up. This is
Inner pulse?
Yeah.
So this controls the lights. And so when hearing and visual stimulus is not enough, we have these extra tools to add into the mix. And so then that way, if we're not having the response we want as soon as we'd like to help get things regulated, we have extra tools in order to make sure that we're giving that response to the brain and getting the proper method we'd like.
So think of it as muscle confusion for your body, but this is muscle confusion for your brain. Sometimes we need to confuse the brain a little bit and kind of shake it out of its pattern. And what that does is that allows us to stimulate vibration and lights, and that says, okay, we're going to confuse the brain a little bit and allow it to react differently, which is a fantastic way of stimulating that. So don't think of it as more intensity, think of it as a different type of stimulus. And it allows us to help the participant break through different barriers. If they can't get through a brain fog, or if they're in suicidal depression, or if they're dealing with anxiety, panic attacks, like feel like their head's going to explode, heart's going to explode, things like that. A lot of different things, a lot of different tools we have at our beck and call as far as helping participants get through this. What else would you like to add? Anything?
I don't think so. Is there anything more you'd like, and you want to talk more?
I think that's a pretty good synopsis. But we want to give you guys a quick synopsis. Is there any way we can demonstrate anything that we haven't already?
I think we pretty much covered all the bases.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess we could talk a little bit more about the EEG itself. And so to get the information that we decide to do these brain trainings on.
Yeah, pull up the sample.
I could pull up one of myself.
All right, okay.
I'll pull up my own. But
yeah, we'll take a look at Amelia's brain on camera.
But just hold on while I get it up, just in case for patient information.
Yeah. HIPAA is important. So let's see, what else? Let's talk about Lindsay. Lindsay?
Yes.
Take your headphones off. Describe your experience brain training in the past.
Oh, brain training, I think, in my experience, is super relaxing. You're just watching, listening to music, watching images.
Yeah.
And kind of like opening, closing your eyes, like seeing the lights. And it does, you notice, like, it's like relaxing, and it helps, like, I notice a huge difference. I usually get tired, like, right afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sleepy.
Sure.
People tend to fall asleep doing this, but that is okay. But we do our best to, of course, keep people awake, but it is supposed to relax, especially if you have heightened brain waves, to relax those so that way you're de-stressing.
Okay.
This is an example
Turn the
of
computer
my
over.
EEG.
Whoa, that's tip it down.
Tip it down.
Down more, because it's really white. Okay, there we go.
Better?
Yeah.
So this is my EEG. And so the theta beta training that we are doing on Lindsay is something that I would do a lot because my theta beta level was very low. This was back in the beginning of the year, February. So this is the first EEG I've ever done. So it's at a 1.3. It goes down to a 0.8 with my eyes closed. That is not what we like. And so I've done a decent amount of training to get that higher. The last few EEGs I've had, I am up about a 1.6 to 1.8 depending.
Show them where you're talking
and
about.
So this area right here.
Okay, point exactly the area you're talking about.
And so theta beta, 1.3, too low, 1.8, even lower. We do not want that.
No.
Ideally, we want a 1.8 to 2.2 for adequate stress tolerance.
Gotcha. So that means your brain needs to go to the gym more.
Yes, definitely.
Let's talk about your alphas, because your alphas are
very high.
Wicked high.
Yeah. So this shows that I am creative, which is fantastic to see on paper.
All right, but notice what you see here. I can get close enough. You see, put your finger next to alpha up at 10. Okay, so that, you see the top number is 338, right? But she goes down to 232. What we needed to do is continue to rise. After 10 seconds, alpha up 10s, alpha up 10 to 20. We want that number to increase, not decrease, okay? So that's, we talk about trauma markers, okay? We all typically have some form of it. And once again, we go, okay, so she goes up to 305. Now, typically we want to see a minimum of 30% increase, but then she drops down to 213 after 20 seconds. So again, we need to make sure that continues to rise and not fall down. So it's like her brain picks up steam and then loses steam. Okay, so that's an important indicator there. Plus you got the alpha recovery, you want to see that less than 25. Yep, she got 25 here.
Whoops-a-daisy.
That's all right, we're touching things. Scroll bars.
There we go. There, alpha recovery.
There you go. 25 over here, she's got 41. So 41's high.
Yeah.
She's recovering too high of alpha. Okay? But, you know, percent theta beta under task. So that's a general idea of what we're looking at as far as a brain on paper. This is the front of the brain, the frontal cortex, which manages all your emotional responses and your creativity as far as your ability to problem solve and things of that nature. And so if you stand up to use your brain and your brain sits down, that's not helpful. So let's see, what's a good indicator here?
My high beta beta is, my high beta beta is a little high.
Yeah.
But that could also just be
0.45 to 0.55 right there.
persistency.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, low high alpha is good though, because you want that's 1.0 to 1.5, that's even lower.
Yeah. This is an issue. We want that to be 20%, but it's 25%. We want under 20%.
Not to mention,
has been resolved, I promise.
Yeah. If you look at the ratio between beta to alpha to theta, you want theta higher than alpha and alpha higher than beta. So right now they're all pretty much the same. Now she's done brain training since then, but we'd like to see if beta is 6, we want to see, oopsie, my finger. Okay, alpha would be 8 and then theta would be 10. We see how it's like 6, 7, and 7.49. So that's where you have an understanding of that's going to change how she functions. So when that ratio is off, that's going to cause different challenges, right? And so she could have an issue there of, emotional volatility, right, with your theta beta, or too much theta on one side or the other. And so that's where your F34 theta, at 25%, that's a little bit high. We'd like to see that that's actually 15, not 20.
Oh, 15, excuse me.
So, 10% change.
Yeah.
But this is just giving you an idea of what we're looking at. Oh, focus changed. Yeah, it doesn't really do that with the tap, but
Gotcha.
we just want to give you an idea of what a person's brain looks like on paper.
Yeah.
Okay? So we got 7.79 there on a high beta beta, high B/B, that's right there. That's where we're going to have potential panic attacks, anxiety, things like that. Okay? We all have different regulations, and so you never want to judge it by the numbers. You always want to corroborate it with symptomatology. Okay? We don't have a survey with us, do we?
I might. In that binder.
There you go.
Okay, then this will be the back end.
You just focus on that.
Okay. No, we don't.
No, okay, never mind.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well. Okay. Well, sweet. So, Lindsay, great job today. You did awesome doing some brain training. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. This is just kind of a glimpse inside of what brain training looks like. Hopefully, this has been beneficial for you as far as an educational standpoint to understand, what is this idea of brain training? Okay. Basically, it's taking your brain to the gym and helping your brain function better. When your brain's happy, you're happy. When your brain's balanced and can respond to stress in a fashion that is not excessive or under-responsive, then you're happy and healthy, okay? So we use this every day. We probably do upwards of 10 brain trainings a day, if not more. Just depends. We do about 45 or so a week or so, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you only see 78 people a week, that's a lot, okay? So tons of people are taking advantage of this great technology. Take these off you so your brain doesn't get overstimulated. Okay? It's getting all these light flashes and stuff. So, okay, appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Let us know if you found this is beneficial. Let us know what questions you have. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. So let me grab okay, here. If you haven't seen this handout, basically there's a tons of things we can do as far as helping people benefit from brain training, okay? Whether it's anxiety and depression, ADD, ADHD, emotional traumas, poor memory, sleep disturbances, insomnia, like that, easy, early childhood development, people with cognitive delays, people with Alzheimer's and dementia will definitely benefit from brain training. Of course, you got to look at the gut and look at the inside of the body first as well, but this is just a great handout for you to reference, okay? So we'll sign off for this week. We appreciate you guys joining us. Let us know what subject matter you'd like us to speak on because we want this to be beneficial for you. Let us know what challenges you're facing. Let us know what things we can help you with, and we'll be happy to talk about it. If you ever want to come in and have me work you up on camera, we're always open to that. People are just jumping at the chance, right? Our team members are usually reluctant participants, but they also enjoy getting taken care of as well, so they're happy to do that. At any rate, for this week, we'll sign off. Appreciate you guys joining us. We will touch base next week right before the Thanksgiving holiday. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, guys, take care.